So what's the motive? Why would they do it? Why wouldn't these so-called rabbis cater to their own brothers, the Jewish people? Because they're not after people. They're after money. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Money is a priority to them over their brothers. Now, I didn't always think this way. I used to think that teach whoever wants to be taught. Not necessarily prioritize over one or the other. And teach whoever wants to be taught. And one time I had, this is maybe 8 years ago, a test came up. What was the test? Somebody invited me, I think it was in Orlando or Tampa or I don't know, something 5 hours away or something. Here in Florida, but it was a long way. Invited me to come do some Noahide event, and they were going to bring, I don't know, like a lot of people. I don't know, I think it was like 1,000 or 2,000 people, or some extraordinary amount of people. And on top of it, they were willing to pay me. At the time, I didn't even have money to pay rent. So money was certainly in need. This was after the crisis and everything else. And they're willing to pay me. On top of it, they're telling me there's going to be no less than 500 people per event, but the bigger event is going to have even more. And while what I'm doing is at that time, I used to have a shiur once a week on Tuesday, and the average shiur would have, I don't know, maybe like 8 to 12 guys coming. You know, eventually it got a little bit bigger, but it never got to 500 people or 1,000 people. And so now somebody's telling me 500 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, all these great numbers. Oh, fantastic. This reminds me of Wall Street when I was there. Big crowds. Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, come teach us about the 7 Noahide laws. Oh, great, 7 Noahide laws. Fantastic. It's Torah. It's great. Yeah, sure. And money and the people and all. Fantastic. All right, I'll get back to you after I ask my rabbi. But this sounds good. Okay, call Rabbi Ephraim. Hey, Rabbi Ephraim, yeah, great news. I have these people, they're inviting me to, I don't know, some hole-in-the-wall, Tampa or Orlando or someplace in the world. There's going to be a lot of people. They're going to do this, they're going to do that, and teach them Torah. What do you think? It's good? Good? Get on the plane? Not allowed. No, you're not understanding. No, it's not Christians that want me to teach them about Yeshua or something like that. No. What I'm saying, I'm going to teach them Torah, I'm going to teach them, Noahide laws and all types of wonderful things, and Musar and this and that. And it's 500 people, and they're going to pay me like $25,000. Not allowed. No, let me try to explain. No, you don't have to explain. Not allowed. Why? Is there at least one Jew that you can teach during that time that you're going to that place? I said, yeah, it's probably more than one Jew, probably 8 or 10 or 12 or 15. He says, therefore you're obligated to them. Do you know what kind of test that was? I just had my first kid. I don't have money to eat. I'm just starting in this whole gig of teaching. Finally I get some crowd. Finally I get some attention. Finally I get a whole huge thing that's more similar to my previous life of Wall Street. And I get not allowed. Why? Because there's like 8 people in the neighborhood that I have to convince them to come to my house to learn that I'm obligated to. Now that's a test. But Baruch Hashem, I passed it. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to listen to the rabbis. Listen to your rabbi, listen to your rabbi's rabbi, all the way to Moshe Rabbeinu. Therefore, anytime you see people go off the tradition, you should know they are going in the wrong direction, because tradition is something we already have. We don't make new ones. We don't make new ones. We have it already for the last few thousand years, nothing new. And anyone that goes off of it, they're destined for destruction. Them and anyone that follows them. And unfortunately, even though there may be some good people involved, behind it, good intentions, the road to hell is also full of good intentions. That's just the way it is. But if you look at Halacha, you look at what Chachamim have done, everything that you see in the world today, there's something that's kosher, it's something that's based on previous teachings. Even the Zohar Kadosh, for example, Zohar Kadosh from a couple of thousand years ago, most people think the Zohar Kadosh was like a new invention. No, Zohar Kadosh is based on over 60 books. I think it's 64 books that were written before it. He's quoting it in the Zohar. Every book that's ever written is based on something else before it. But you're not going to find the Noahide books quote the previous generation's Noahide books. Why? Because Chachamim didn't spend any time writing them. Now, are there Chachamim that discussed Noahides? Absolutely. Are there Chachamim that even had books written all about Noahides? Yes, but they were not catering to the Noahides. They were catering to the Jews that deal with Noahides. Even Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef has a segment of his Yalkut Yosef that deals with Noahides. And there's no problem for a Jew to read it. It's written for them. But to go and write a book and have a whole organization just catering to Noahides, this is nothing similar to any of the things you'll find in previous generations. And quite frankly, according to many Chachamim, which Rav Ovadia on top of them, of its most recent big psak, he writes in Yibia Omer, it's forbidden 100%. Forbidden with absolute terms. No like leniency whatsoever there. So, hopefully that gives you guys the answer. We are meant to be a light unto the nations, not to follow their misguided practices. Remember, every Jew has to remember that he's a Jew and she's a Jew. We don't celebrate non-Jewish holidays, even if they seem harmless.